Welcome to the Brahma Kumaris, where a new world is opened up for you. From humble beginnings in India in 1936 to a global organization with over 8,000 centers in 110 countries and 1 million students worldwide. Through their tireless commitment, passionate heart, and determined spirit, the Brahma Kumaris arrived in America in 1974 and have since grown to 35 main centers throughout America. There are also 2 residential retreat centers, Peace Village, located in upstate New York, and Anubhuti, located in Novato, California.
I want to just share a little bit about how the centers of Raj Yoga meditation began in United States. Actually, I was in Caribbean islands and I got invitation from New York that we want to start something about meditation. And it was in 1978 I came here and we rented a very small apartment in Astoria. And from there I found that a lot of people have interest. I realized that there is so much need, and from there onwards then centers started in many other states.
Our centers are safe spaces where you can explore the power of your inner world.
The classes are conducted in many homes, many cities all over across the United States. A lot of people, they learn meditation, they use that meditation at their workplace, in their family, and also I find that children, young adults, because they are so much into what really is the life about.
The Brahma Kumaris are dedicated to personal and global transformation through the study and spiritual practice of Raj Yoga meditation. And at the heart of our teaching is the belief that the pathway to peace and happiness is to remember our original nature as spiritual beings, connected to the One Source. In 1981, the organization received recognition as an international non-governmental organization affiliated with the United Nations and accredited with general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council. From organizing large-scale global initiatives to local community programs, the Brahma Kumaris has a tradition of service in every field that fosters spiritual growth among individuals from all backgrounds, cultures, and walks of life.
I hold on to this vision, the world of love, world of peace and harmony, world which is free from conflict and sorrow, where we can live as brothers, one family, children of common parents, one supreme divine power.
This is your invitation to awaken and join us in creating a world of love, peace, and kindness. Om Shanti. Everyone wishes to live their best life. We experiment with various ways to achieve that, whether it is through study, competing, finding a partner, working hard, or admiring someone who inspires you. It is the quality of our inner being that does it all, or grapples with fulfilling life's calling. For the past 20 years, the Brahma Kumaris in Washington, D.C. has been a space for any and everyone to enter into and experience one's soul calling. From 1997, the center opened in an old rickety house on Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring, Maryland, where cars and trucks that passed by would shake the space. But when you were inside, it was a peaceful and powerful sanctuary for all who visited. Since then, over 2,500 events, 17 city and nationwide initiatives, 21 awards, 2 meditation museums have served youths, senior citizens, entrepreneurs, scientists, authors, women, interfaith, the disabled, environment, small businesses, arts seekers, and even leaders. Millions of lives have been served, either through social media, the popular America Meditating radio show, or through exhibitions, lectures, partnerships, and programs held in the meditation museums and centers. We look at 20 years of service as a continued journey of love, courage, wisdom, and determination with friends from diverse backgrounds and thought who believe a better world is possible when we make ourselves better human beings. Meditation is an important tool that helps us to gain greater clarity, insights, and inner power so we can make healthy choices and amplify our capacity to live a full life. In times of great anxiety, insecurity, and fear, meditation is an essential practice for everyone to gain stability and inner strength. Just look at what a few dedicated, purposeful, and kind group of committed people have been able to achieve in 20 years. Thanks to everyone who have supported us along the way. And thanks in advance to those who believe in our work and power of intent. Brahma Kumari's Meditation Museums, where peace is inside.
So good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. It's wonderful to see you all here today. We wasn't sure whether people were going to come today or whether they're going to stay home. And so we're very happy to see all of you. How many of you, this is your first time here to the Meditation Museum? Anyone? So we do have a few new people. Well, a special welcome to you. You've come to a special place. This is a museum about you. Did you know there was a museum about you? It's a museum about the inward journey, about discovering everything that's wonderful and beautiful within you, and learning to stay connected to that and to nurture that, and to recognize the things that disconnect us from that beautiful part of ourselves. So as you saw in the video, this museum is run by the Brahma Kumaris, which is a worldwide organization. We have over 9,000 meditation centers around the world. But this and its sister museum in Tyson's are the only meditation museums in that network of 9,000 centers. Here in Washington, we wanted this to be a very special place. And museums are special. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to make a reservation. You can just come. And we wanted everyone to feel like they could just come. So thank you for joining us today. We have, before our program, we have a very brief video by Sister Genti, who is the regional coordinator for all of Europe and Africa for the Brahma Kumaris, and she is going to be sharing a little video for us, very short, on spirituality and the causes of crisis. Please enjoy this brief video.
If I go back to where we'd started, and that was the crises that we're facing in the world today, the financial, the political, the family, the religious, the environmental, there's a list of them. I see all of those as actually being spiritual crises. And if we were to resolve the spiritual crisis, I think everything else would fall into the right place. We'd be able to deal with all of those things. Absolutely. Why I say that is because somebody would say that, the environmental crisis is because we've been totally commercialized and we haven't given anyone an understanding that nature is to be respected or even that nature is sacred. Well, that's a spiritual statement. All the political crises that we're thinking about and the injustice that seems to be happening, again, to me, it's because our moral compass is not aligned. We're not understanding where it is we need to go and what our destination really is. The financial crisis is absolutely human created, where we've got this big division between the have and the have-nots. So just looking at all of these things, I see how coming back to a spiritual consciousness resolves these things for me personally, but also I think there's a lot of good that's happening in the world that is being released at the present moment. On one level I see the descending energy and the darkness increasing, but on the other side I see the ascending energy. And so the choice that I make when I'm spiritually conscious and aware is, which part do I want to be part of? Do I want to be part of the descending darkness, or do I want to be part of the ascending energy of light? And then it's many, many organizations, many individuals who are being inspired to do that which is good, which reminds me that there is that original goodness within all of us, and we're all coming back to that. And so spiritually, what happens when I go through that transformation of shifting my awareness from being just limited matter to being a spiritual entity, in this awareness, then I realize my responsibility to myself, my responsibility to others, and to the world at large. And so in the awareness of the soul, in my connection with the divine, what happens is that I'm getting in touch with my own inner goodness. And now my responsibility is to share goodness with those whom I meet, whether it's my immediate family, whether it's the people at work, or my neighbor, whoever that neighbor happens to be. And so the proof of my transformation, of this change of consciousness from material and limited to being spiritual and unlimited, is that there's a behavior change. There's a change in terms of my values and the expression of my values in my life.
That was lovely. Have any of you seen Sister Jayanti's videos before? Yeah. You can find them. I think if you Google it, Sister Jayanti on YouTube, you'll hear a whole series, little short series on all these wonderful topics. So we have a very special program for you today on the art of letting go with Sandra Crowe. And Sandy, it was reminding me just a few minutes ago, and of the genesis of this program today. We had talked about this, I guess back in January, wasn't it? Yeah. It was sort of like an end of the year, beginning of the year event that we were at a friend's house. And we talked about this idea about having this program on the art of letting go. And we were sharing that, wow, it is so accurate that this is coming up right now. Yeah. For those of you who don't know Sandy, she is a professional speaker, and she, I'm embarrassed that I'm reading to her, but we're really privileged to have her with us today. She's a leading thinker in the areas of dealing with difficult people and difficult situations. Does anybody have any of those in their lives? Yeah. And she's helped government organizations and corporations in trying to deal with those kind of situations and manage them better. She is a professional speaker and transformational facilitator, and she's the author of, get this title, Since Strangling Isn't an Option, So please welcome Sandra Crowe.
Thank you, David. Did you all, everybody have one of these cards here? So if you look at the card, at the bottom, on the one under body awareness, see where it says, if you can't find it, I'll just read it to you. The last one says, you find it hard to let go. That's a body awareness. Can anybody connect with that? But on the other side, the soul awareness, it says, you are in harmony with the rhythms of expression. I'll say that again. You are in harmony with the rhythms of expression. And that's what I want to help you do today. Today I want to share a tool with you that you can take with you, especially at this time and the challenges that we're all dealing with collectively, that will help you deal with not only now, but also in the future. And I'll go into that in just a little bit. But first, I want to talk about why letting go, the importance of letting go. Why do we need to do it? Why is it valuable for us? So let's start with that and looking at what are we letting go of. Now, I want to be very clear about this because people always say to me things like, well, if I let go, I won't be able to do anything. And it's actually the opposite. I want to be really clear that we are letting go of emotions, not actions. And the reason why this is so important is emotions are kind of like, the tissue box where you pull one out, another one pops up. Emotions are kind of like that, like the tissues in a tissue box. But here's the thing that most people don't get, and if you can get this concept, I promise you, it will change your life. And the concept is that all emotions want to be acknowledged, whether they're your emotions or whether they're somebody else's emotions. Now, the reason why that's such a simple concept, but it's a really important concept, is because have you ever been in a situation where you're arguing with somebody and you tell them to calm down? And what happens when you tell somebody to calm down? They get more like, calm down, I am calm, right? You get that kind of response. Actually, the reason that happens is because when you tell somebody to calm down, what you're saying is the emotions that you are exhibiting are not valuable to me. I will not acknowledge them. And that's why they get more upset. So listening to your own emotions, acknowledging your own emotions as well as somebody else's, this is going to be the key as we look at how to let go as a big door opening. And what happens as a result of that is that now you can actually act. You can actually do more once that happens. So we're going to talk about how to do that. And for you, why do you want to let go? What is it going to bring you? And so I want everybody to think of something right now, because we want this to be real, right? So we want to work with something that's hard for you to let go of. So I want everybody to think about something that might be hard for you to let go of. Now, it might be something that, the coronavirus, and because we're all hearing it in the news all the time. And if you're not anxious before the coronavirus, the media can certainly bring it on, right? Like your anxiety may not even be about the corona, but it feels like the end of the world, doesn't it, the way that it's happening? So that might be something that you want to let go of and say, acknowledge your emotion around it and just say, no, I'm okay, I'm safe, and reassure yourself of that and look at your emotions. So see what's in it for you to let go of, and this is the most important part of it, what would open up for you, or what could you let in as a result? Now let me give you an example of this. So a couple of years ago, I had a neighbor live next door to me. We got to be really good friends. And we were talking, having a good time with one another, and then I needed to move from my place. But I wanted to keep my place, and one of the other neighbors wanted to rent my place. Well, she did not like the fact that I was going to let another neighbor rent my place. She didn't like them. And we didn't have a chance to talk about it, and I told her that I was considering this other person renting, and we hadn't discussed it. And she immediately got angry at me she started yelling at me and screaming at me. Now, what happens is anytime you get triggered, and this is true for all of us, whenever you get triggered by something, it's very rarely the thing in the moment that's actually really triggering you. It's almost always something from your past. Now, and she had a history of, you know, a lot of problems in her family, and she wasn't really listened to or acknowledged, and her feelings weren't really acknowledged. And she felt like in the moment I was doing that to her, the same thing her family had done to her years ago. The truth of the matter is, I hadn't even had a chance to have a conversation with her about it, but she got angry about it. She wouldn't talk to me. She held a grudge against me. And then after a while, a little time passed, and I finally talked to her, and I said, this was my perspective. I was just looking for the right person to rent the place. I wasn't doing anything against you at all. I was just looking to rent my place. Can you see that? And can you, and by the way, just as an aside, I ended up not renting to that person because it bothered her so much, and we created another strategy to get somebody else to rent it. But this was the point I want you to see, is that when I went to her and I said, can you let go of this? I know you've been upset with me. Can you let go of it? And she looked at me and she said, I hold grudges. That's what I do. And because of that, because she had the identity of somebody who held a grudge, she couldn't let in my friendship. And she said, it'll take me some time. Now, a year later, we ended up getting back together, and we had lunch, and we kind of made up, but the friendship was never the same. When you block letting go, you block other possibilities in your life. You block conversations. So if everybody could just think to themselves, and you've got some paper if you want to write it down, because I've got the steps for you to take away. If you're welcome to write it down the back of your paper, but I want everybody to think of something that you'd like to let go of, whether it's anxiety you have right now, about what's going on in the world, whether it's something personal to you. Just everybody think about that for yourself. And now I want you to, as you're writing that down, I want you to think, if you could let go of that thing, what could you let in? What's a possibility that could happen as a result of you letting that go? Now, this is a little bit of a chicken and an egg scenario, because sometimes you let go of something in order to let something else in, and sometimes you let an idea in that allows you to let go. Do you see what I mean? So I'm going to tell you a story while you're writing that down as well. This is another thing that happened to me, just to give you that idea. So a couple years ago, and maybe some of you have had this happen, I was dating a guy who was really bad for me. And my friends were telling me, this guy's really bad for you. Do not, but I couldn't let it in. And then there was that straw that broke the camel's back. It was just something where he didn't listen to me, or he wanted me to move in with him. He wasn't acknowledging any of my considerations. And a girlfriend said to me, and sometimes you hear something different at different times, and she said, you have to listen to me. This guy is really bad for you, and for your own safety, for your emotional, physical safety, I am imploring you to please let this relationship go. And I let that in. Like, for the first time, I really heard it. When I heard her say that, that allowed me to begin to let the relationship go. So I knew that she was right ultimately now how to let it go. So sometimes you want to let the idea in so that you can let go, and sometimes when you let go, something else can come in. So either way, it's good. Either way, it's healthy. So everybody have something they want to let go of? Okay, good. So we'll keep going with this. So I want to share with you a tool. I'm going to take us all through a little closed eye process around this to help you let go of it. I want you to understand the origins of this tool I'm going to share with you. So I was introduced to this, and I have my own variation, so this is not directly what he created, so I'm giving you the concept of what he created, and then my twist on the tool. It's by a man named Lester Levinson. Now, Lester Levinson, and this is his quote, "The way to get rid of the ego is to get the mind so quiet that you can see what you are, and then you know you are not the ego and you drop it." Now, here's how he discovered this. In the early 1960s, Lester Levinson was approximately 42 years old. He was a physicist living in New York City. And he was having these chest pains, and one day he went to the hospital, and they found that he was a candidate for a heart attack. And back in the 60s, it was before heart surgery. We didn't have the medications we have today. And they said, I'm sorry, sir, but there's really not much we can do for you, and you're going to probably just have to go home, take it easy, and your heart is not stable enough probably to live for more than a few months. So please go home and get your affairs in order and possibly be prepared to die in the next couple of months. So being a physicist, he's good at asking questions and analyzing things. And he went back home and he said, I'm not ready to die. I'm 42 years old. And is there another way that I could approach this? And what he noticed, and he was able to take his blood pressure, which of course connects to the heart. And what he noticed is when he had certain thoughts, his blood pressure dropped. And when he had other thoughts, his blood pressure increased. Now, to all of us, that's kind of a duh. We know that, but back in the early 60s, when he was measuring it for himself, it was a bit of an aha. And so then he began to watch the nature of his thoughts. And he began to look at the context of his thoughts. And here's what he noticed. He noticed the thoughts, when they were negative, they came under three umbrellas. There were three things that he was wanting. Thing number one that he found would increase the blood pressure and increase the negative thoughts was wanting control. He wanted to control his health. He wanted to control his environment. He wanted to control other people. We've all had experiences of that. And that we as human beings, we want control on all kinds of different levels. And when we feel out of control, it increases our anxiety, increases our blood pressure, all those things. But that when he thought certain thoughts, he could get that feeling of control in check, feel more in control, blood pressure would go down, and he felt better. That was area number one, he noticed. Area number two is that when he felt secure or safe, same thing happened. Blood pressure went down, felt good. Same thing for you. Just notice, when you feel a lack of security, lack of safety, it's a little different for all of us, but there's a lot of similarities. So things like money is obviously a big security or safety. Having a place to live, obviously a big place of security or safety. Relationships, all those represent security or safety. When one of those is compromised, you lose someone you love, your money depletes, that feeling of security or safety becomes paramount, right? You feel a lack of that. So he began to feed his thoughts so the lack would fill up and he would feel more equanimity. So that was the second area. Third area that he noticed was approval. When he noticed wanting other people's approval, when that became an obsession, paramount, what he noticed is his equanimity also came down. And his wanting came up. Now, the things that all three of these have in common is they all have a desire for extreme wanting. And what he noticed is that you cannot want and have at the same time. If you are wanting, you are in lack, and you are not having. So what creates the wanting? So he noticed it was particular thought patterns that created the wanting. And if you notice for yourself, if you've noticed your own thought patterns, you notice they'll go in a loop. Oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen, and what if this happens, and what if that happens, and you go down this spiral, and the spiral is a spiral of wanting. It's the spiral of what if is a spiral of wanting, because the what ifs lead to, and then what will I do, and then what will I do, and then I will want for this. In fact, if you go into, has anybody been in a grocery store in the last 2 days? I was in the grocery store yesterday. I just went in for two things. Unfortunately, one of them was toilet paper. And And I was walking down the aisle, and it's like there's plenty of like canned beans, but the toilet paper aisle is full. It's like, if we have an apocalypse, is toilet paper going to really be your first concern? So why is it that people go? It's this kind of primordial, grasp, this primordial wanting. It's something inside of us that, and I don't know why, but for some reason, toilet paper seems to make people feel secure. And so that's this thing that they go for to create the feeling. What is it they're doing? They're creating a feeling of security or safety. And it makes them feel more in control. When you have food in your house, you feel more safe. Like, okay, at least I got that handled. I can't control the virus out there, but I can control what's in my house. And now I'll feel more safe, right? So that kind of brings the wanting down. So that's one of the reasons why we have these responses to these external things, is because we feel that lacking, and whatever that thing is feels like it'll fill us up. And it will for the moment. It will for the moment, but it will arise again. And what do we do? So these are all kind of like core primordial desires, wanting that we have, but there's actually a higher wanting that many of us have. I'm going to guess everybody in this room has. And that's a desire and a wanting for oneness. And that's a very high wanting. And even in a scenario that we're in now, there is oneness in this. There is a connectedness because we are all in this together. And the more we can have our wanting move towards that connectingness, how can we collectively support each other? So I'll give you one small example of this. Just as an aside, so I've been getting some news reports from China and what's going on there. Because as you've probably heard, in China, the stand from people who've been connected with some of what's happening medically over there. The one thing that has really been helping people heal quickly is vitamin C. You're not hearing a lot about it in the press right now. But if you can keep your vitamin C levels, this will help you with your security. If you can keep your vitamin C levels up, the standard recommendation is somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams a day, depending on how much you can tolerate. It's like ascorbic acid, a simple one that you can get in most stores. That will support your immune system. Now, the people in the hospital have been given very high doses of vitamin C, 25,000 IUs, whatnot, IV. Those doses have been helping them heal very quickly. So that is a tool that you have in your arsenal to help your immune system, and you can feel a little bit more confident as you move in the world with that level of support in your body. So that's an example of something that's, to increase security that we haven't heard about. But if everybody's taking that, then it'll help us all collectively to. Yes, you might need a little more toilet tissue paper, but your body will be safer. Yes. So these are elements that everyone wants. So here's what I want to do. Has everybody identified? I want you to think about, as you go back to the thing that you're wanting, the thing that you want to let go of. Can you identify which one of these that are you wanting more control? Are you wanting more safety? Sometimes it's a combination. Are you wanting more approval? Are you identifying which one of these is paramount, or a combination? Can everybody identify that for themselves? Okay, good. So what I'd like to do is take you through a little exercise that will help you to now let go. When I take you through the steps of letting go, and the idea here is we're letting go of the emotion, we're letting go of the wanting, and we're letting go of whether it's control or security or safety or approval, whatever it is, to help to let go of that. All right, so here are the steps involved. And I'm going to take you through it right now. So I'll explain them to you as you go through. You don't need to know them in your mind. I want you to feel them in your body. So the first thing I'd like you to do is, now you've got that aware, go ahead and put your stuff down. I'd like you just to feel comfortable. in this moment. And one of the quickest ways that we can feel comfortable is just to take a deep breath and just to feel into your body. And you are invited, if you would like, you're invited to close your eyes so you can really tune in to your inner experience, because I'm going to ask you to pay attention to what you're experiencing around this. So the first thing I'd like you to do is just, and if you want to put your hand on your chest or anywhere in your body where you're experiencing it, you're invited to do that. The first thing I'd like you to do is to find the place in your physiology where you feel, find the place where you feel that experience of either anxiety or wanting or frustration, whatever that feeling is that you have that makes you say, I want to let this go, the thing you want to let go. I want you to be aware of the emotion associated with that. And find the place in your being where you feel that. If you want to put your hand there, you're welcome to do that. It just assists you in moving it through. Okay, find that place. And go ahead and feel it. Now, as you feel into that, I just want to acknowledge that oftentimes what a lot of us want to do is what we do unconsciously is we resist the feeling. You may notice yourself going into the resistance. That's okay. If you feel yourself going into the resistance, inside yourself, say yes to that resistance. Acknowledge that resistance. Remember what I said before. The most important part of this is having your emotion be acknowledged. This is the core key to really letting this go, is to say to that emotion, you are literally speaking to the emotion. And you're saying yes to that emotion, and that begins to open the door to letting that through you, to letting that out. So go ahead and feel that and allow yourself to feel that. And I'm going to give you a little simple technique to open it up. And actually, this little technique, the basis of it actually comes from the world's great religions. And it's actually the word allow. So you can even say to yourself, allow, I'm allowing this to go through. And one of the things that I like to do is something called Sufi healing. And in Sufi healing, one of the words that we use, the word in the Sufi healing, of course, we use the word Allah, which is the word for the divine. In Islam, we say Allah, and we say Allah al-Fatah. And that is the command to open. Allah al-Fatah. It opens everything up. It is literally the opener. That sound of Allah is actually used in a lot of the world's great religions. In Hebrew, the word for the divine is Hashem. It has that ah sound. We are looking for the ah sound to open things up. Allah, even when we say Om, the Om has that ah resonance. Om, ah. So when we say allow, we are using that same vowel sound to open things up. So you are consciously allowing that feeling to move through. You are allowing it to leave you. Allah, we say a fatah, to open and leave, open and leave, open and leave, open and leave, open and leave. And you can let it just go into the ground. You're acknowledging that emotion and you are inviting it to leave. Open and leave. Allow, allow, allow. Opening that to leave. And feel as if, just imagine underneath you that there's a vacuum underneath you. And imagine that that vacuum is pulling out that emotion that you want to let go of, you are letting go of, and let that vacuum pull that feeling through your body. Let it take that which does not serve you. Let it take that from you. Let it pull that from you. as you are doing that, you are releasing that. If for any reason you're having a hard time doing that, ask yourself, am I resisting? If you're resisting in any way, say yes to the resistance. And allow that once again to go through you. Allow it to leave. And as you feel that going on the other side of you, imagine right now, this is how to literally wash that feeling through you. Imagine the crown of your head opening up, and you're just letting the light of the divine go through you, and you're allowing yourself in that, letting that light of that divine go through, you're allowing the rewiring to happen. You're flushing out. Your being is saying, that which I have been wanting, that which I have been holding, no longer serves me. I give you permission to leave. Thank you so much, because what the feeling is trying to do is protect you. You thank that feeling. Thank you for trying to protect me. You allow it to go, and then you open to something else which will serve you much better, which is the divine light that is always there shining. And you open up your crown, and you let that light come through, and you let it immerse into your whole being, just like as if the sun were shining on you individually, letting that light come through you and shining every cell of your body. And as it shines, it washes that anxiety away, that wanting away. And you feel yourself moving that through you. And as you do that, just take stock of your body right now. Just notice what your body is feeling, what it's doing, and notice that feeling. Has it changed? Did it go down? Did it move? Did it go anywhere else? If another feeling pops up, then thank that as well. Say yes to that feeling and let that go through as well. Every feeling that comes up is designed to protect you. It's there designed to support you. So as we thank the feelings, we thank that protection that it wants to give us, even when we ultimately don't feel like it serves us, and we let it go. And we welcome something else to guide us and to serve us, to move us in the right direction even more. So just notice that right now. And when you're ready, when you feel complete with that, you can go ahead and open your eyes. And so I just want to get a show of hands here. How many people feel something shifted from that? Feel something, you feel either lighter or something moved from that? Okay, good. So what I have noticed is that there are two ways to address this. One is to do it by yourself. And it's always great to have somebody like this guiding you. But the other thing I find, and I actually do this every day with a partner, and I find that sometimes it's really helpful to have somebody else ask you some questions around this to support you and letting it leave your body a little bit more. Sometimes when you're witnessed, it helps that leave you more easily, and you can actually speak it out loud. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is, with a partner, to actually do this, to help with a partner. And we'll keep some safe space here between us, but actually take this to the next level by doing it in a speaking way. So here's how it will be with a partner. You'll get with a partner, and I changed the dialogue on this a little bit just to facilitate the a one-on-one interaction as opposed to individually. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask your partner, And you can describe your scenario or not. The scenario doesn't matter. The thing that matters most is what you're noticing that you're wanting. Are you wanting control, security, approval, or even oneness? What is it that you're wanting? And then you're going to ask your partner, can you allow yourself to find it and feel it? So you're going to ask your partner again, and the partner says, yes, I can find that, and I can feel that. It's right here in my chest. And then you might ask them again, definitely, can you feel that? Yeah, and then you say, yes, I can feel where it is, absolutely. And then you're going to ask your partner, can you allow yourself to let it go? Now, sometimes letting go is as simple as making a declaration. Yes, I acknowledge it's here, and yes, I'm consciously going to let this go. And if you have a problem letting it go, you may have some resistance. And if you have resistance, the partner can say, are you resisting this? And you can say, yes. Yeah, I'm resisting it. Maybe you don't want to let it go. You do, but you don't. And then you can say, can you say yes to the resistance? Every time we do this, we're talking to the emotions. We are literally having conversations with our emotions. And then we're letting that go. And then the next thing is, can you open to the possibility of this changing? And ideally you say yes to that. And then you say, can you open to the divine light of possibility moving through you? And that's kind of asking for some help. Can you get some divine help here? So you're letting go of it, and you're opening to the divine light within you, internally as well as externally, to supporting you. So does that make sense? You guys up for giving it a shot? A question? Yeah. Right. So I'm glad you're asking me this question, because what's happening is, like, you're going into the mind, and the mind has got a lot of questions about it. So here's how it works. We're letting go. Forget the mind for now. The mind will have all kinds of questions. The mind will want to rationalize. All I want you to do is let go, is tap into the feeling of it. And then after the feeling, that clears it. And after the feeling is gone, then you can go back and think about it. Does that make sense to people? Does that make sense in terms of letting go of the feeling? So let me use the example of coronavirus. Okay. So let's say you are nervous about the coronavirus, right? A lot of people can relate to that. And what I'm wanting in this, I feel a lack of control. Around that. So, and I feel that lack of control in my body. I feel it in my heart. And I feel like a squeezing. Can anybody relate to that? You feel a squeezing. I can't control things, and I feel a squeezing. So what I'm going to do now is, can I allow myself to find and feel it that way? Yes, I feel it. I feel the squeezing. I feel that I want control, and I feel it right here in my heart. And now, can I let that go? Can I let that go? Can I allow myself to let it go? I'm consciously making a decision to let go of the feeling of lack of control or anxiety or nervousness. And a little thing I do also to help me with that is I imagine there's a vacuum cleaner underneath my feet, and it's pulling the anxiety out of me. The anxiety of wanting control. The anxiety of not being able to control. The anxiety of nervousness. Does that make sense? And then, can I open to the possibility of this changing? Yes. Can I see that we'll get on the other side of this? That things will get better? That this is just a temporary thing that we're all doing? Can I see that actually things are going to be really, we're going to appreciate a lot more, like being able to get together and have more social gatherings, and our appreciation for life will increase after this. Can I see the possibility of things changing? Yes. And then can I open to something bigger than myself? Can I connect with divine light so I'm not so consumed with my own internal confusion, nervousness, and open to something bigger? Does that make sense? How that might go? So go ahead and get with a partner and go ahead and do the exercise. And then after the exercise, we'll see what questions, what came up, what concerns, what blocks, if you had any blocks to it, what comes up afterwards. But go ahead and get a partner. And if there's 3 of you, that's okay too. But see if you can get a partner. Give yourself some space between you, enough to hear, and then go through the questions and call me over if you have any questions. Okay? And I'll walk around the room. Did you guys all get a chance to go back there? So just a little bit of, we have some time for feedbacks and questions, and I'm going to take this to the next level with you all, also to show you how in your mind, once you've released it in your body, how your mind can then take over in a much healthier way. So before we do that, though, let's talk about some responses, feedback. How was that? What questions are popping up? What was your experience? Were you able to let it go? Just a minute or two of any feedback from that. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so, and the reason I put question 4 there is just because sometimes when you're in the grip of that, and you can certainly change it for yourself, sometimes when you're in the grip of it, you can't see possibility in the beginning. You're gripped by the emotion. You're gripped by what you're wanting. Now, if you can ask yourself that question and you can start to open up, fantastic. You use this any way that works for you. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But thank you for that. What else did you notice, experience, feel, let go of? Have a question about, please. Yeah, so I'll repeat that for people on Facebook. So she was saying that, she can let it go and let it go once, but it keeps popping up. So remember that tissue box? So this is what happens with our emotions. We get that, we can let it go. It's like, okay, I feel good in this moment. And remember, those thoughts, even the worries, are there to protect you. So it will pop back up again. So it's something that you need to do again and again. And so one thought is, if you have somebody in your life that you see every day, whether it's somebody you live with or a friend. I actually have a release partner that I do this with every day, and I ask these questions with. We'll talk sometime in the morning, and his big question to me will be, what do you want to let go of today? And I'll say, I've got this big program coming up, and I'm nervous about it, and I want to let go of controlling it. And he'll just ask me the question, can you let go of wanting control? Something about somebody asking that question, and I go, yeah, I can. And what I find is that when I say yes to that and I can let go of that control, I feel more relaxed. And that opens up my ability to be able to be more fully myself and be able in the moment. So sometimes it's as simple as just having somebody in your life who can do that for you. So it will come up again. Yes. Yes, what else? Yes.
Because there is one onion and you peel off the layer.
Yes.
And then someone else says something and it triggers that emotion again.
Yeah.
And you're not expecting it to come up and like, but I thought I got rid of it already.
Right.
Peeling off another layer of the onion.
Yes.
And so different things are always going to trigger something that's very deep inside of you.
Yes.
So you have to recognize when it comes up. Sometimes don't do anything about it. Just feel what you're feeling without expressing it until that energy or that emotion moves through your body.
Yes.
And then speak about it and then say, you know what I was feeling, X, Y, and Z.
Yes. So just for the Facebook people, the essence of what she was talking about is peeling the layers of the onion. And, when you think you're on the other side of something and then somebody so beautifully helps you realize there's another layer there that you didn't realize. And that's one of the things I talk about with difficult people, is that they show us parts of ourselves that we thought were either hidden or prefer not to look at. They invite parts of ourselves out that we might have liked to be dormant. It also reminds me of a quote from Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell says, where you stumble on the other side is treasure. You know, where you stumble, on the other side is treasure. And your feedback reminds me of that. It's like that moment where you're stumbling from an interaction with somebody, or that place inside you where that difficulty has come up. If you get on the other side of that, if you look to see, what is it I'm wanting? And a question I always like to ask is, what is this reminding me of? What is this bringing up from my past that I'm here to let go of? And when I ask that question and I can see where that's coming from, and then I ask myself, is it wanting approval, control, or safety? Oh, wow, I'm wanting their approval. And then can I let go of wanting that approval? Sometimes it's hard, but ideally the answer is yes, and I can let go of that. And then on the other side of that, it's like there's a freedom that goes with that. That's what's on the other side of that stumble, is the freedom that's possible. So this is true for all of us when we let go of something on the side. Any other comments before I go on? Any other questions or comments from that? Those are all really great. Thank you. One more? About Joseph Campbell? On when we stumble, on the other side of the stumble is a treasure. So here's what I have found also for those of you who do this and you find, okay, I let go, now what? The idea of this is to let the emotion go through your body, and now your mind can enter. And your mind can enter more cleanly and more clearly. So if you are in the midst, as I'm sure we've all experienced, if you are in the midst of a very strong emotion that has gripped you, it is very hard to think clearly. We've all had that experience, right? You are literally colored by the emotions, like you have on colored glasses and everything you've seen. So if you're in a feeling of desperation, as an example, that feeling of desperation, you're desperate for something or someone, everything you see is to answer that feeling of desperation. If you can let that go through your body, now the mind is more clear. So here's your next step after you do this, is to ask yourself some really good questions that will now, from a clear perspective, that will now lead you in the direction of either solving your problem or feeling better about it. So I want you to think about, for the thing that you wanted to let go of, the thing I asked you that you wanted to let go of, what would be a good next question for you? So here are some examples of next questions. See if this sparks anything for you. What do I do now? Who can I talk to? What's good about this? What am I learning about this so far? Who else has been through this? What resources can I tap into? What can I do right now to have fun so I can forget about it for a few hours? Who else might get this? Who can I get to listen to me? Because even in the listening, sometimes there's a letting go of just talking to somebody, helps you let go the rest of it. So I was talking to somebody as I was walking around, and she said, I let go of some of it, but there's still some there. And if you still have some there, you have a couple choices. You can do this some more. If you feel like you hit a dead end with this, it might be, who can I talk to now about this? Because sometimes in talking about things, you can let it go. Can I write about it to let the rest of that go? What questions are sparking out there as I'm talking about these questions? I want to just ask you to say some questions out loud, not just for you, but it might spark in other people questions that lead you. Questions, if you use questions well, they lead you somewhere. They take you somewhere down a path that you may not have been able to otherwise. And once you let go, you're cleaner to go there. So what might be some good questions that are brewing inside you that might be good for you to even say out loud and help other people? Anybody, just say them out loud, please. What advice would I give to a friend? Yeah, there's always the what would Jesus do? What would my mother do? What would Brother David do? What would anybody do, right? What advice would I give to somebody? If I were walking in somebody else's shoes, what advice would I give? Or what advice would they give to me? That's a good one. What would I need to let this go? And another good one along the way is, what do I need in order to feel safe? What do I need in order to feel safe? Because sometimes for people, if I can feel safe about this, then I can let it go. Then I feel like I can let it go. So sometimes for many people, the safety precedes that. If I can feel that safety, I can let that go. What do I need to feel safe? Who can I talk to about that? And then what do I need in order to get that safety? You know? Other questions, because these are really good questions, and hopefully they're inspiring. What questions are brewing inside of you? What other questions are brewing inside of you? If I chose a positive outcome, what does that look like or feel like to me? And I think the to me is a really important part of that, because what you assess as being a really positive outcome might be different from somebody else. And the only assessment that matters is yours in this scenario. That's a good one, yes.
This isn't one of them, but I
It's
can't
okay.
help but notice in my head like how many questions I have that actually make it work.
Oh, really good point. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Just to repeat that, she said, I'm noticing in my head how many questions I ask that make it worse. So this is when watching the nature of your mind is so valuable. And so right now, just notice in your mind, if you're asking questions, what the nature of them. So just so we have an example, can you just say one or two of the negative ones, like how they might sound?
Might be like, what's the worst that could happen? And then be like, oh yeah, I got that. And like,
Okay. Okay, that's actually so. So let me just differentiate. Let me just differentiate that. So here are a couple questions that we'll often ask that don't take us to a good place. So one question might be, what's wrong with this scenario? And then of course there's always the what's wrong with me. That's a classic one, right? So what's wrong with this scenario? What's wrong with me? Just notice, I want you to notice in your body, when I ask these questions, it's very subtle. I want you to notice what happens to your mental or emotional state and even in your physiology. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with this situation? Why can't I handle this? Do you notice it's very subtle, but there's a kind of a clunk that happens, and it's a lowering. Now, notice very subtly what happens in your body when I ask this. What can I do about this? Where can this take me? What's good about this? Where can I find the resources that I need? Can you feel? It's a very subtle difference. The difference, there's a more upward movement, and it opens more possibilities. Now, back to your question about what's the worst thing can happen. That is not actually a bad question. And I'll tell you why. If you ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? And in your mind, well, this can happen or whatever, and then now you ask yourself another question. If that happens, can I prepare for it? And can I deal with it? Can I handle that? And if you can say, yes, I can prepare for that. Yes, I can do these 3 things to prepare for that, and I can deal with it. If you ask yourself that question and you can say yes, guess what happens? That need for safety, I can handle that. Now you can feel more relaxed. So that question can actually ultimately give you a sense of safety and a sense of relaxation. Does that make sense? So in the letting go, if you ask questions from there that move you in the right direction, and you feel like you've asked them all, then you finally get to a place where you can settle. And everybody feel that? So let's do, I'm going to do something a little closed eye process and bring all of this together. Are there any more questions you either want to either ask or mention before I want to pull all this together in a little closed eye process that just leaves you hopefully feeling more settled with all of this, more relaxed, and ultimately more prepared as you leave to let go. And you all have the tool to take home with you to let go of, and then be able to be prepared with the questions you want to ask as a result, and whatever you are shown to deal with in the world. Any other questions before we do that? Please. What good can I take from this? Yes. Yeah, what good can I take from this? Yes. Yes, and if you think about it, you've had scenarios in your past that in the moment are uncertain and maybe even scary at the time, and you got on the other side of it, and you developed a strength and a learning that you probably couldn't have developed any other way. So there's always, remember that stumble, there's a treasure on the other side. So you can't always see the treasure when you're in the stumble. So just knowing, reassuring yourself that not only, who was it that said this too shall pass? Not only will it pass, but you will be richer. You will be richer for the passing of it, because your being will have gone through something that has made you ultimately stronger. Make sense? Okay, let's do one more closed eye process, and then we'll wrap up. So just take a deep breath in. And any other emotions that are stirring in your body. Again, just imagine that vacuum cleaner pulling on the other side of you and just letting it pull anything that doesn't serve you out. And feel like a subtle brushing of any remaining anxiety, nervousness, lack of control, wanting security, wanting approval. Just imagine that being brushed out of your being into that vacuum, pulling out of your being, letting it usher out. Right now, just imagine you are being infused. Just feel yourself being infused with possibility. That by asking the right questions, by letting go of that which does not serve you, does not serve your being, does not serve your family, does not serve your mind, anything that does not serve you or your being, you're letting that go. You're letting that usher through you. You're letting that being taken from you. You're giving that to the ground. And opening your mind, opening your heart to the simple light of the sun right now. Just imagine the light of the sun. The sun has so much richness. It feeds plants, brings us vitamin D. It nourishes life. Just imagine the light of the sun giving to you and giving to you all the possibilities. Whatever comes your way, you're good. You can handle this. You have the right way of thinking. You know you can let go of that which does not serve you, and you can ask questions that will direct you in the right way, to the right place, to the right people. Put that confidence, that possibility in every cell of your being. Know that that is true, and that the treasure that that brings to you, the wisdom and the awareness, is also implanted inside of you. And as you take a deep breath in, feel the sanctity of that, the certainty of that embedded in your being. And the peace that that brings you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So I'm going to end with a quote from Maya Angelou. She says, "Do the best you can until you know better, and then do better." So hopefully you know a little bit more today. Now you can do a little bit more, and you can do better. And then ultimately you can let go, because love has you. You are in divine hands. You will be taken care of. Know that. So thank you all. Thank you all so much for being here. And thank you. And Brother David, should I turn it back over to you for any parting words?
So thank you, Sandy, and we have a big hand for Sandy. This was amazing, and we've been talking about this for a long time, and it was so wonderful to have you here. Does everyone feel lighter? Yeah? Or do you at least think you have some tools to feel lighter, you know, to let go of some of the things we carry as a personal burden? Yeah, what a wonderful gift, Sandy. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you to all of you for joining us today. I'm so happy to see so many of you today.
And I'll stick around for a few minutes if anybody has any questions.
Oh, yeah. Does anyone have questions for Sandy at this point? Yeah. Yeah. But maybe you'd like to ask her personally, afterwards. So, okay. So, thanks for joining us. We have little gifts for you, and I should pick these up here and I can show you. We have for you a Do Not Disturb I'm Meditating door hanger. So how many of you do regular meditation at home? Yeah? Yeah. So if you're looking for tools to enhance your meditation practice, we have a Learn to Meditate class here. It's a free class every Saturday at 11 o'clock. And we also have the Raj Yoga meditation course, which is a whole, and you're in the course right now, yeah. And a whole course in meditation. And they're both free. We don't charge for any of our workshops. And the Raj Yoga meditation course begins the first Monday of the month. And so that will be in April. And it runs for 2 weeks, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And it's at noon or at 6:30 p.m. And so we invite you, if you want to learn more about meditation, to join us for that, for the Raj Yoga meditation course, or for our 1 hour Learn to Meditate class we have every Saturday. Yeah. They're about an hour and a half for that session. If that time doesn't work for you, we also offer it at our Tyson's Museum, and there we have a Saturday version of the class that is every Saturday at 11, beginning the first Saturday of the month, 11 in the morning, and it's 2 hours because it's only 4 days. Those classes we don't, because it's really a workshop. I mean, the part of the interaction is important. Yeah. And so we also have a list for you of all our upcoming workshops, and hopefully we're still going to have them. We'll see. Just check on our website. If you have any concerns about that, we have a whole list of workshops coming up, and we also have this card that Sandy mentioned to you. Please make sure you take this. I love this card because to me this card sums up what meditation is all about. It's about shifting our awareness, changing our awareness from a body awareness to a soul awareness, a loving awareness. A mundane awareness to a loving awareness, or a limited awareness to an unlimited awareness. And I keep this card in my cubicle at my office. I keep it on my fridge. You can keep it on your dashboard. Take some extras if you want. Just to remind yourself to check your awareness throughout the day. For me, the art of letting go is not something I learn once or do once. It's a daily process. And you're building your skill to do that. And for me, meditation's very much a part of that, because meditation builds that foundation of stillness that gives us the space where we can pay attention to our thinking and make a choice about our thoughts. Otherwise, we're just in reaction mode. But when we have that stillness that we can build through regular meditation, we have some room to make a choice. Yeah.
I just realized I forgot to tell you what happened with Lester Levinson. Remember, he's 42, he's going back and he's remembering all the negative and the positive things he was thinking. Anyway, he started noticing all the negative thoughts he had, and they were all wanting approval, wanting control, wanting safety, and he just started letting them go. He did that for 3 months. And he went back to the doctor, and his heart was actually healed. And instead of dying at 42, he lived to almost 80. As a result of that, and that's how the technique got created. So I didn't get to finish the story and say that's the genesis of this, and that's what it's based on. If you want to read more about him, there's some videos of him on YouTube. You can look him up, and there's books that he's written as well. So it had a happy ending. Yeah.
It's so inspiring. Yeah.
Lester Levinson.
Yeah, it's very inspiring. Yeah.
Lester Levinson.
Yeah. It is. Yes. Yes. A question. I think we'll make a decision about that. Part of our decision to broadcast this today, usually when we have a special guest like Sandy, we usually have FaceTime. We have have a live workshop. We do it on FaceTime. But we should give some consideration to that because maybe everybody's going to be wanting to stay home. Maybe we should do more online than we have in the past. Yeah. No, but I think it's a good suggestion. I think it really is. Yeah. So thank you again for joining us. Please check out our bookshop there, and and we have lots of CDs, and we have a special sale on that glass table there, 50% off. The books on that table are all from guests who've been on the American Meditating Radio Show. Has anybody heard the radio show here? Oh, God, check it out. Check it out. Sister Jenna, how many of you know Sister Jenna, our director? Yeah. Sister Jenna is the director of the museum, and she hosts this radio show called America Meditating. And it's an online radio show, so you can listen to it whenever you want to. It's like a podcast. And there's over 1,400 shows posted now, and they're on great topics like the topic we talked about today. And she has wonderful, wonderful guests on the show who talk about their meditation experience or their spiritual journey or their own self-development. And guests that you know, too, people like Whoopi Goldberg and Alanis Morissette, India Ari, Marianne Williamson, Russell Simmons have all been on the show. Ram Dass have all been on the show. So check it out, and I'm sure you'll find something interesting there. AmericanMeditating.org. Yeah. All of our workshops here and classes are offered free of charge. We don't charge for any of them. If you want to support the museum, that is welcome. And there is a contribution box on the reception desk and one in the showroom. And we also have that little tip jar thing. You can just put your card in there, and it will do a $10 donation. Thanks so much for joining us today. Stick around if you have questions for Sandy, and we'll look forward to seeing you again, hopefully soon. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. The time that we choose to
We have a
be
little
aware
meditation on letting go. I'm sorry, I
doesn't
forgot to
necessarily
mention.
require
Please
me
have a
to
seat and
just
join
sit
us.
and meditate. But even while I walk and move around, I can be in a meditative awareness, which is awareness of the soul, the original, eternal, imperishable being of light. For a little while, I'd like to invite you to be present, to be here, and to be now. Allow your mind to settle in the moment, to relax. This meditation is about awareness. It's about becoming aware of your original and eternal self. It's about connecting to your truth. Let go of your name. And observe yourself feeling nameless. Let go of your gender to discontinue thinking you're a man or a woman. Let it go and observe how you would feel walking around without a gender. Let go of the role that you play and let go of the titles that you own. Observe how you're feeling as you are gradually letting go. Let go of your religion and put it aside just for now. And let go of your nationality and even the language that you're accustomed to. Imagine you have no name, gender, role, title, religion, nationality, or even a language. Ask yourself, how do you feel at this moment? And in this feeling, who would think of you? And who would you think of? The Supreme Soul would think of you, and you, the liberated soul, would think of the Supreme. In this state of absolute freedom, I am truly who I am. A free, peaceful, pure, immortal, and eternal soul. Allow yourself to just be absorbed in this awareness. At this time,
Thank you. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. If you like this wonderful meditation video, you can find it on YouTube. Just Google Letting Go, Sister Jenna, and you'll find it there. All right. Om Shanti.
Thank you.